And Pule, there were many other things that I wanted us to talk about. But firstly, let's get this out of the way. There was a story last week in the Mail and Guardian,
yes,
which doesn't put you in a very good light.
Yes.
What are you doing about that?
No, thanks, Paul, for asking about that. Well, I must say that it was quite a rough one. Especially because if you looked at the headline, it would have painted a picture that I have been ordered to repay something like 49 million.
Yes.
So it's a worrisome issue. Of course, following that, then one had to go look at the article to understand where the order came from, who issued the order, and when are we supposed to surrender our children so that we can raise the money required to pay that which we don't know. When you read the article, then you discover that there is no link between the headline and that.
The content.
Well, I wouldn't want to go much into the merits and demerits of the story. Safe to say that there are certain inaccuracies in the story that have been pointed out.
Yeah.
My legal team is already working on that. They will be able to notify the Mail and Guardian and the relevant press council of the sort of actions that we are taking. Of course, would want a retraction on those on those inaccuracies.
Yes.
Failure to adhere to those. One of the things that the lawyers are looking at is to, of course, approach the public advocate within the press council. And ultimately, if we don't really come to some agreements, then the process ends with the ombuds.
Okay.
But of course, what we're trying to do is to make sure that, because, I mean, journalists are human beings.
Yes.
And out of being human, certain things could veer off, you know.
Yeah,
so we felt that maybe it is necessary to just pick up on those areas that are, because, for instance, some of these things, I mean, if you say someone is a director of a company, you don't have to go far. You just have to go check on your CPRO documents.
Are these CPRO documents?
This would be CPRO documents. This would be the ones that the journalist would have said, I resigned in January in a company, I resigned in 2014. And this is what is already declared. I mean, you know, you don't have to be arguing about it because it's written there. You just have to check, is Pule Mabe still a director?
Yes.
You know, so because that accuracy really serves to assert the quality of journalism necessary to boost the reliability of news. So that is just the one issue, but more importantly, dealing with an ethical question as it relates to what is it that people can and cannot do in this space. I mean, we have always declared where we had interest, we declared that interest. Even when we were in Parliament, we did the same. Where there would have been a suspicion that things were not done right, there would have been judgments meted against us. If we were not satisfied, we would have contested it in the normal course. Okay. And that is part of what responsible citizens are expected to do. And I think that ourselves, together with the media, have got an important part to play to boost the confidence of society.
Pule, are you saying you are not a director in the companies that have been listed there as you being a director?
No, I'm not a director. I mean, I'm not a director.
A trustee in one of the...
I'm not even a trustee. I'm not a director. I'm not a trustee. I'm just a patent holder who happens to have a license agreement, which was necessary to boost the enterprise development initiative. It is in black and white. Unfortunately, sometimes when we are briefed of stories and there are big names that appear, we tend to believe that there could be something. Mustn't do that. I mean, those who are in the ANC are themselves members of society. Their rights are regulated by the Constitution. Okay. So we must be able to assess them and say, for instance, I can't say it can't be wrong if I do business with Mpo, even if Mpo was my relative, for as long as I am not in a government institution, that shouldn't constitute a criminal act. Because if I do that, it means that I'm saying there are different rules that must govern my relationship with Mpo as opposed to those that must govern my relationship with many others. Okay. Because members of the ANC, regardless of what they do, they are still members of the South African society.
Correct.
Their rights are regulated by the Constitution. The Bill of Rights also secures them the rights that they secure to everyone else in the Republic.
All right, I think it's a matter that will definitely
it's a matter that we are dealing with, and I'm sure that we'll be able to find each other. I mean, in the space that one operates in, having a good, sound relationship with the media, it's very important.
More especially because you are What? You are a protege of that same newspaper yourself.
Yes, it's my alma mater.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's Pule Mabe, the ordinary, normal citizen, Ngwanana Mahal. Let's now talk to the spokesperson of the ANC.
Yes.
Now, the president has
Now, I must come in there before you go.
Yeah.
No, the former spokesperson of the ANC, whom I learned a lot from, Comrade Zizi Kodwa, said to me, Pule, you must understand, there is nothing personal when you are the spokesperson.
Okay.
You are the face of the ANC, so you must continue to make sure you assert the values that the movement upholds in society.
All right. Now, the president has written to the NCOP.
Yes.
Intends to put the Northwest provincial administration under what? The provincial government under administration. Yes. Let's hear what the ANC's reaction is to that.
Well, the ANC welcomes that move because it is important that they do that very soon. We are seen to have returned the province of the Northwest under levels of stability. Mm-hmm. When the province is stable, it allows government to be able to distribute basic services to people unhindered. So the moves that are being taken are consistent with the position that the ANC has always communicated, that when the president cut his trip out in the working trip out in the UK, when the National Working Committee visited the province together with the officials, when you saw the intervention of the military going to Maikeng Hospital, when the IMC led by Mama Nkosazana went in there, all of these were efforts to make sure that we could be able to bring instability into the province. Mm-hmm. You are now beginning to see action, and you will also be able to see certain of the measures that we said must begin to happen. In the last National Working Committee, we said officials must meet with the chair, who's also the premier of the province, so that working together they could be able to then say this is the envisaged approach that when taken forward, it would be able to bring stability in the province. You have seen there's been some movements. Already there's an acting premier in the province. I'm sure that within the shortest space of time, would be able to see things that are now beginning to say, this is a line or direction that will be able to take us to elections much more stronger structures of the ANC in that province. But most importantly is that the officials have got a meeting tomorrow in KwaZulu-Natal where they are meeting with the PIC of that province. They would also be meeting, going to visit the families of the cadre that has been shot in Moses Mabhida. Over and above that, they would also be taking stock to understand the level of the readiness, because the province has been running a number of regional conferences, and ultimately they must have a provincial conference. So it is important to assess how far ready they are in terms of doing that. But also, what has been at the core of the renewal program was to make sure that the mass of our cadreship of the ANC throughout the country, whether it's in KwaZulu-Natal, it's in the Northwest, it's here in Gauteng, anywhere else, are allowed to participate in the processes that lead up to all of these conferences unhindered. Where there is gatekeeping, we do our best to make sure that we could open our structures. Everyone must feel that they could participate in designing and effectively contributing to what must become the programs of the ANC.
Now, last week I had a chat with Sihle Zigalala, and we were talking about how much unstable the KZN had been within the ANC structures, and whether the president was really welcome in that province. Now, are you confirming that the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, is going to be in KZN tomorrow with other officials of the ANC?
Yes, I can confirm that. Actually, I can confirm that President Ramaphosa is the president of the entirety of the membership of the ANC in the Republic of South Africa. He enjoys support from amongst the rank and file of all the structures of the ANC. He is not the president of Gauteng or a president of Limpopo or select provinces. He is the president of the ANC, duly elected at the 54th National Conference. He will be leading our elections machinery going into the 2019 general elections. So he's going to meet with our structures. He's going to meet with the PIC, which is the interim leadership corps of that province, to try and take stock and understand, joined by other officials, the deputy president, the secretary general, the deputy secretary general, the treasurer general, the national chair. As a result of that, you will also know that there are also other activities that will be taking place. For instance, there's the launch of the media launch of the Tumamena program, which is going to effectively be the launch of a countdown program of this rapid response type intervention. And that the program would ultimately be launched by the president. And when the president launches the program, you would be able to outline a number of activities that anchor this program. You will also see that that coming Monday, not this Monday, the president will also be unveiling the Thomamena pledge outside Lituli House, which is going to be a symbolic pledge sending a message on what all our structures are expected to be doing. Now, we're going to allow the president to effectively lead the charge because he's the face of our campaign, but he's also the face of the African National Congress. So the whole week we'll be having countdown activities, and the chairperson of the election subcommittee, Comrade Fikile Mbalula, is going to be presiding over the media launch tomorrow, because the Secretary General will be with the other officials. Comrade Ace Makashule is going to be coming later on tomorrow to address, I think it's the 30th anniversary of Kweto Carnivale.
Oh, yes.
Here in Gauteng. So I can tell you now, Mpo, that our officials are working together as one. So must never be a message sent that our officials are disintegrating or all of that. But also in that meeting, they will also be meeting with the Deputy Secretary of the Northwest, so that they could be able to get feedback on the developments that had already taken place over the past week. The issue of the Northwest will then serve before the National Executive Committee, which will pronounce itself and ultimately convey a position. Now, the NEC is happening next week.
Okay.
Now, I can assure our members in the Northwest Province and everywhere else in the country that we're working very hard to make sure that we resolve all of these issues that could build themselves into impasses that ultimately distract us from doing the work we need to be doing. Whether it's issues in the Eastern Cape, it's issues in Limpopo, Mpumalanga, anywhere else in the country, those things would then find expression in reports to the NEC that are presented by provinces.
Pule Mabe, thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you very much, Empo.
Well, that was the national spokesperson of the African National Congress, Pule Mabe. And for now, we're taking a quick break. When we return, we'll wrap up our news. Please don't go away.